Thank you for tuning in. And today, Aaron and I went to see Captain Marvel.
We did.
And it was good.
And it was an entertaining movie. It was very entertaining.
What's the difference between entertaining and good, though? Because entertaining can mean you're having a good time. Entertaining
means I saw it and I had a good time, but I probably won't watch it again.
Yeah, I agree with you. It definitely had good aspects to it and engaging moments. But overall, you have the feeling that as the movie's wrapping up, I'm probably not going to dive back into this story ever again.
It's kind of like I tried to rewatch Iron Man 2.
I'm going to have to ask you to exit the donut.
I haven't watched it since I first saw it.
Didn't really want to watch it. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Iron Man. We're here to talk about Captain Marvel, which is the first female lead protagonist in a Marvel movie.
No, they haven't tackled it before.
Yeah.
And
this is never done until this movie, really. And they had a chance to blow everyone out of the water, kind of like how DC did with Wonder Woman.
Which we both like Wonder Woman.
Yep.
That was a great movie.
Yeah. And you leave the theater kind of with an empty feeling. You feel kind of...
Not as satisfied as you did leaving Wonder Woman. And since seeing Wonder Woman in theaters, I've seen it another 2 times, and every time I go back to that story, I'm continually entertained. I'm continually I have enjoyment watching it.
So, fresh after you've just seen this movie, speaking of stories, tell me the story of Captain Marvel without giving out any spoilers.
That's one of the negatives to the movie because it's really hard to piece together.
It is hard to piece together.
It's not that there's plot holes. It's just it's hard to really. They start out with like a Born Identity type of beginning, with giving you memories of her different things that she went through.
I saw the idea. I saw what they wanted to do, but unfortunately, it wasn't executed well.
It just gave you a bunch of different moments, and you're just like, oh, it turned into these moments all have either a boy or a man involved, including her own father, and all of them are telling her she can't do something.
Yep. And that goes back to character motivation. Why do I care about this character, and what is her ultimate goal? And without spoiling anything, it's really kind of sad what her motivation ends up being.
Usually in a hero's origin story, the push that gives this person the energy, the force to do these good deeds is very deep.
It's a sacrifice.
It's rooted in something that either happened to them that was tragic, or it's something that they saw that they knew was wrong, and it's something in them that is.
It's tragic.
It's a tragic situation.
And it's a sacrifice. That's what makes you feel for the character, is that they're sacrificing themselves to save either people, save the ones they love, or even the universe. If you get into like the first Avengers movie where they're saving New York, it's all a sacrifice. But without giving away one of her quotes, it's just selfish, really. Her main motivation is selfish in and of itself.
It's when you get deep down into the root of her character, she is just a very hardened individual. And I feel like me as a person, looking from the outside in, it's hard for me to relate with somebody like that, because she doesn't give you any sense of something to hold on to that you say, oh, I sense that in myself.
I identify with that in my own life.
Yeah, and we went back to this in the car driving home, but that's why Tobey Maguire playing in the first Spider-Man, that's why he was so relatable, is because and especially in the second one, he didn't want to be Spider-Man anymore.
It was ruining his life. It ruined his relationships with his best friend and the girl that he loved.
It was ruining his whole life.
But he realized that if he didn't do these things, then, even more people would have died. There's just great consequences if he didn't sacrifice his own life in pursuit of saving others.
And we've all had that point in our life where we know the person that we are, we should do something that we don't want to do, but we know it's right. When there's a character that doesn't seem to go through that,
Yeah.
it's hard for you to be like, that's a hero I can stand behind.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we saw when we got deeper into discussion after the movie. If you look at the movie just from plain view, it's, oh yeah, that's, you know, she's pretty, she's, you know, entertaining. There's a couple really good sequences. The color schemes, the time setting we talked about is cool in the 90s.
And her character in and of itself, apart from the motivation, apart from anything, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, the way she portrays Captain Marvel is kind of a blank slate, a concrete wall where there's not a ton of emotion.
No, and it doesn't ever show that there's a couple scenes that we will get into that were laughable. Like, me and Aaron both looked at each other and were like...
It reminded us of... I'll show the scene right now.
Show it.
I know what you're going through. I've struggled with weight my entire life as well. We're gonna beat this together.
You really mean it?
You know what we have to do.
Together? Beat for beat. That's what
That's what it is.
Our thoughts connected during the scene. I said, that's what it reminds me of. And he said, I was just thinking that.
He said, that reminds me of the skit we did with Brandon. And immediately I knew the exact one he was talking about. The exact skit.
It was like the directors were like, all right, we need to drive this home. That she's this person that we want the audience to know she is.
Yeah.
And it just came off as flat, and it didn't give you that sense of warmth in your heart that you want to be like, stand up. Like the scene in Wonder Woman when she's coming out of that trench, and the men are like battered down, and they're like, there's no escape. We're dead. There's no getting out. And she gets up, and she goes and is going to sacrifice herself to save them and fight.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I got chills in that moment. No moment in this movie gave me chills in Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
There's none.
It's, because I was trying to think in the movie, throughout the entire movie, what is her motivation? What are her flaws? Try to find a flaw with her character or her powers.
Or her powers.
Try to find a moment where you're like, oh man, I don't know if she's going to do this. I don't know if she's going to make it. You can't.
And you can probably add in that scene in The Office where Meredith is trying to park her car in the I don't know if she's going to make it.
I don't think she's going to make it. Don't think she's going to make it.
That's what we're trying to grasp at. There's got to be a moment where you think the hero really is in danger and may not see this through.
Yeah.
And at no point in this movie did I not think, oh, she's going to destroy this person. She's going to make it out alive.
But even if I was worried, and they did have that scene, do I care? No, I don't care. And why don't I care? Because it goes back to her motivation for why she's doing these things, and it's selfish. Why do we care about Captain America?
We care about Captain America because Captain America represents... We've all been in situations where we've been told we can't do something. We don't have the strengths, whether it's the mental strength, the physical strength. You don't have what it takes
and guess
to do
what?
this.
Just a little side note, they do that in this movie.
They do.
But they communicate that message.
Mm-hmm.
But how is it capitalized on versus, let's say, in Captain America the First Avenger, how they capitalize on that?
Well, in Captain America, it's capitalized on. He gets the serum to turn into this beastly superhero. But his character motivations, everything that led up to this point, it doesn't change him.
Yeah.
He stays the same. He has a good heart. He's respectful. He's not a douche to people because he has this. He could be like that to all the people that told him he was a nobody.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel.
No. We're not going to tell you why, but...
It's very frustrating, though.
It is frustrating. Towards the end of the movie, there is a scene... And it's going in a different direction than anything before. And you're like, wow, did her character arc just move to maybe sympathetic? Or are we going to have a heart-to-heart here where she's not this concrete wall and she's going to have forgiveness and mercy?
It's a real moment where you think, okay, this is where we're going to get to see who she really is. And it's a good way to explore her character because anytime before this point in time in the movie, all you're shown is she just fights. She has no real emotion, and if you try and get some emotion out of her, she might show you a little bit. But there's no real reason for the way she's feeling. It just shows you these different parts of her past.
Yeah.
And just little snippets. And, but yeah, you think this scene is going to make you kind of stand up and be like, oh, that's wow, okay, that's powerful.
That's heroic and powerful, and she didn't have to do that. But instead, she responds in like a vengeful type way.
A very cold way.
Yeah.
And she just comes across as a bully sometimes. So, overall, though, if I'm going to rate this movie, I'm giving it a C-. And I give it a C- because it could have gotten a C+ or a B- if that scene would have come out a different way.
Okay.
But that pivotal scene, you guys will know what we're talking about. When you see this scene, you're gonna go, you're kind of gonna come out of your chair a little bit, and you're gonna watch.
It was an important scene. I was like, this is the climax. I was like, are they gonna do something different here?
It's gonna grab you. Like Michael Scott. Again, we can give him that scene where he's grabbing himself.
Oh, I got you! I'm pulling you back!
And it was grabbing us.
Yeah.
But then you just let go, and you're like, whoa.
You get hammered. Political justice, you know.
Yeah, and that's something else we want to touch on.
Female protagonist that doesn't need anybody. She's totally capable.
Well,
but can I identify with that? I'm not, obviously, you know.
We're not against women.
We're not against women, but at the same time, I'm not unstoppable in my own life. I'm not this battering ram that takes on every single challenge and like, oh, it doesn't matter to me. I'm a stone wall. I can do anything. I identify when there are flaws in a character, and I can get behind it and be like, I identify with that. And since she's overcoming this, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I support this character. But instead, we didn't get that, and you leave the theater feeling unsatisfied. But guess what? It's not the worst Marvel movie. There's definitely worse Marvel movies out there.
It didn't leave me with a sense of like they blew it like right out. Like they just outright blew the. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But they still maintained a balance with the story. It wasn't off the rails, but there was just things in it that really didn't mesh well. So yeah, that's my grading, C-. Definitely they missed the mark on character motivation, having you identify with the character. There's no flaws in her character, and I looked up on Google after we saw the movie, and there are a lot of weaknesses she has, but if you went into the movie like we did, there's no weaknesses.
Yeah, you can only judge the movie based on what content is in the movie, not on what content is in the comics.
Yeah.
Because it's a totally separate entity. But in the movie, we don't see really anything. There's no kryptonite. You know, Iron Man I'd say his weakness is his arrogance.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with Thor.
Trait. Yeah.
Thor doesn't have any true weaknesses. But his weakness comes in his character, how he gets himself in trouble because he's bullheaded sometimes.
Yeah.
And with her,
I don't know. I'll try to think of a flaw, but thus far
I guess if you really want to try, the flaw is there's a lot of moments where she doesn't believe in herself and she believes what people say who she is, and that in turn gives her problems because she can't do the things she wants to do because she keeps listening to people. And in reality, in our everyday life, there's people that tell us we can't do stuff, and you gotta dig down deep and see that you are capable of a lot more than people say you are. That's the only thing maybe that I can see. She believes people on what they say to her.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's grasping at straws, though. That's really grasping.
Yeah, if it makes you think, then it probably wasn't done too well.
And that's the moral of the story. If especially origin story, if the storytelling is on point, it will show you. It doesn't have to spell it out and tell you.
Show don't tell. That's the concept we have here. But instead of the director showing us she's vulnerable, showing us people, you know, have been putting her down, but you know, she's gonna stand back up, not be a jerk about it, and do the thing that's hardest. They really try to tell us, and they
They
push it
actually do
onto
tell
us.
you.
They tell
Through
you a lot.
characters, they tell you.
The directors want you to feel so badly.
And anger towards the people that have done this to her.
Mainly men.
100% men.
Yeah. Mostly men.
Except there was one character that's not one.
Yeah.
That had that role, but 99% have been male.
You know, not an awful movie by any means. It was
What's your letter?
entertaining. I am gonna give it. Before we even started talking about this, I already had my mind made up. It was a C+. And I'm giving it a C+ because I was thoroughly entertained, and that's the point of a movie, it's to entertain you.
It's true.
In Doctor Strange, I fell asleep.
I
Wasn't
fell asleep,
entertained
too.
at all. And that movie,
Snoozing.
I hated that movie. So this movie kept my focus. I was trying to figure out the story. I wanted to know about the story, and I was interested in it because I know nothing about this character.
Neither did I.
And they didn't bore me. I
It
wasn't
kept you
bored.
interested.
I was not bored in this movie. So that's why I give it a C+, because I was thoroughly entertained. I enjoyed the movie, but there's just some issues from keeping it above average at a B or an A.
Would I buy it to watch it? No. Would I
Probably
redbox
not.
it? No. Would I see it ever again? No. But
that sounds pretty bad.
But
it sounds worse than a C+.
but it was worth the ticket price
Would I tell somebody, go see this movie if you
before
want?
the new Avengers comes out?
Yeah,
Sure.
probably.
Yeah.
You can.
You
can
can
go see it.
But you won't lose anything if you don't see it. The only thing you'll lose is that you won't know when she comes into the new Avengers. You won't really know too much about her. Does give you a background to who she is and where she came from.
I heard a lot of hype over the post-credit scene, and it wasn't that good.
I didn't hear a lot of hype about it, and I was very let down.
It was very. It was predictable. Like I already knew that's probably what was happening there. But anyway,
We digress.
that's different.
That's our movie review, guys. If you liked this video, please give us a like. And if you enjoy these reviews, though, we'll keep them coming. We'll review new movies, older movies. Give us another movie to review. We'll review it.
Yeah, just give us some feedback. If we suck at reviewing movies, just say, hey, stick to the fitness side.
Yeah, and that's what we'll do. We're trying something different with this thing. Aaron and I have always been interested in music and diving into the background of things and really getting into the weeds of movies and music, and so we wanted to try and do something a little different rather than just do all fitness and health
Got out of
videos.
our comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, so
We're
if we
new,
suck,
very,
tell us.
Very new to this.
You don't have to see another review from us,
No.
but
Dislike it if you want.
dislike it.
We're not afraid to tell you to dislike the video.
Yeah,
Do it. If you don't like it, hey, tell us.
Yeah,
We
tell
can handle
us why you don't like it. Give us some criticism.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be constructive either. Don't pull any punches.
Yeah, just pull out all the stops.
We're
Just
men, we
tell
can
us
take it.
We're awful. All right.
But hey, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.